Well, I love the book of Genesis. In 2021, I was asked to teach the early chapters, and I spent 8 months explaining the first 3 chapters of Genesis. And a lot of Christians cannot accept this answer, but the Bible doesn't tell us where evil came from. The Bible tells us how evil entered the world. So the Christian faith is not like other religions. It doesn't begin with a big genealogy of angels that goes down to Shaitan and blames all the evil in the world upon Shaitan or Satan. The Bible shows us very clearly how evil entered our world. It entered our world through the disobedience of Adam and Eve to the express will of God. But it doesn't explain where Satan came from, and it doesn't explain why he was rebellious against God. The church, there are church fathers who have believed that Isaiah 14 is talking about the fall of Satan, and there are church fathers who believe that Ezekiel 28 is talking about the fall of Satan. There's a series of videos on YouTube called Honest Answers, put out by Southern Seminary, and I did one of those on Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel 28. And Isaiah 14 the first principle of interpretation is to look at the context. It's talking about the king of Babylon. And it's what it is it's a funeral song. It's a funeral song or parody. The Hebrew word is mashal. A mashal involves a parable or a comparison or a parody. It's based on 2 Samuel 1. So in 2 Samuel 1, you have a funeral song for Saul and his sons, and the author of Isaiah is creating a parody of this funeral song, and he's comparing the king of Babylon to a Canaanite myth. And in this Canaanite myth, one of the younger gods tries to supplant Baal or Baal, the chief god of the pantheon, and he's thrown down for his arrogance and his pride. And so it's a funeral song, and it's all about the king of Babylon coming into the underworld, the abode of the dead. And in Ezekiel 28 is also very clearly, according to the context, a taunt against the king of Tyre, and he's compared to Adam. Adam was a king and priest, and so he's described in kingly terms and in priestly terms. He's described in terms of the garments of the high priest with all the precious stones. In our book, Kingdom Through Covenant, I explain how you can see from Genesis 1 and 2, just from Genesis 1 and 2, that Adam was not only established by God as a king, but he was established by God as a priest. He was a worshiper of God in the Garden of Eden. And so the king of Tyre is compared to Adam in Ezekiel 28 and his arrogance and pride in turning against God. So as much as we would like to have information, the Bible does not give us a narrative about the fall of Satan. He just suddenly there appears in Genesis 3 this snake who is clearly symbolic of an evil power, and this evil power is opposed to God and seeks to get Adam and Eve to disobey God. And there's no explanation anywhere in the Bible of where Satan comes from. We can assume For example, there's a passage in Job 38 that talks about God creating the world, and all the angels or the sons of God were shouting for joy. So it seems that the angels were there before God created the earth, but we have no information on where Satan came from, and the origin of evil. The only thing the Bible tells us is how evil entered the world. By one man, sin entered the world, and death through sin. So therefore, death passed upon all men because all sinned. Romans 5:12. That's a very good, a very clear and concise interpretation of Genesis 1 to 3.